Do you want to hear the latest joke? Afrinic's so-called Fair Election Committee, referred to as NOMCOM. Not funny? Now wait, let me explain the joke and tell you the story of Afrinic NOMCOM. A story that is as sad as it is funny. Afrinic is now controlled by people who literally led the organization's reputation into dust by their mindset and actions, making Afrinic's election a joke to everyone. Let me paint you a picture that will let you have a more clear understanding of what's happening in these elections. Imagine if your beloved country is having an election to elect the next president. But wait, there's only one candidate. One candidate actually running for election in the country. What a competition! So the people will go decide between Obama and then try to decide which Obama is best to lead the country? Yes, that is exactly what's happening in Afrinic's NOMCOM, as there are some seats literally with just one candidate, such as North Africa. Oh yeah, we told you it's a joke. A sad joke, if you will. We wish that this was the only problem that the so-called election has. Yet the list goes on and on about how unfair what it is that Afrinic's current board is trying to pass as an election. For example, the bylaws of Afrinic require that 6 seats are to be offered for electing the board members. Yet, in a very obvious unlawful act, the current Afrinic board only offered 3 seats available for the election of new board members. Yeah, what's going on in your mind right now? That's true. They want to keep the other 3 seats for themselves, and yet they still have the nerve to call a NOMCOM fair election. But why doesn't any resource member report or speak up on this issue? Why is nobody holding the current board members responsible for what's happening? Believe me, they did. They spoke up, and they're still speaking up every minute, addressing their concerns and their worries about the election. But Afrinic's current board, they're doing what they do best, ignoring the resource members' concerns and just doing what will keep them in power and control. Concerns from resource and community members have been officially addressed to Afrinic board members, such as this concern addressed by an ISP and Afrinic resource member. He has lots of concerns about the fairness of the election, as he addressed in his email to Afrinic board, but as usual, ignored. He questioned the fairness of the NOMCOM in his email and the process of the election, saying, and I quote, "This NOMCOM is not neutral. This NOMCOM has direct or indirect interest in the results of the elections being held, and as such, this NOMCOM is attempting to manipulate the elections by presenting a candidate slate that limits the choices available to members." A community member who participates in Afrinic policy-related discussions has some concerns as well. He mentions in his message that NOMCOM is just further evidence of the power grab by the Afrinic board, adding that perfectly qualified candidates have been rejected, almost certainly on the sole basis that they do not support the current board's misdeeds. So, if you don't agree with whatever the current board of Afrinic wants, sorry, bye, you can't run for the election. Finishing his message with a very strong and powerful line saying, I implore Afrinic members to recognize this for what it is. At this point, it has literally risen to the level of election fraud. Another scandal about NOMCOM is the fact that some qualified candidates were kicked out of the election, while underqualified candidates are placed. Why? Connections, my friend. Taking the candidate for West Africa as a very simple yet very clear example. The candidate is clearly unqualified for the position he's running for. How do we know that? Just watch this video that shows enormous misunderstandings from the man about his role and about the internet in general. The so-called qualified candidate claims that, According to the RSA, Afrinic has the right to reclaim resources from the members if they're not used in a legal basis. Of course we should use IP legally, but this is not a matter decided by Afrinic. This is a matter of the country's judicial system. Afrinic is just a private company with no such rights. He also claimed that members can propose a policy in AGMM to discuss the distribution management of resources, which is absolutely wrong. Policy discussions are done by the PDWG group, not the AGMM. So how about a businessman from Africa uses IP from RIPE because he received them from RIPE? How about if a person based in Africa is visiting websites outside of Africa? The candidate's claims show that he clearly has no idea of the very basis of how the internet works. Afrinic never had IPs in the very beginning. All IPs were allocated from IANA, and based on the request of Afrinic's members, Afrinic received equivalent amount from IANA. So the idea of suggesting that Afrinic manages all the IPs in Africa is wrong and misleading. The shameful thing is not only that Afrinic's current board members are allowing obviously disqualified candidates to join, yet they are disqualifying candidates who really care for the internet in the region and will fight for its freedom and its safety. Candidates with their extensive experiences and resumes testifying for them that they are more qualified to run for an Afrinic board member than anyone within the current board membership. They're prevented from running in the election. Why? What is it that scares the current Afrinic board members so much from these candidates? Is it because they're qualified? Isn't that supposed to be the case anyways? Or is it because they have no connection with their circle of corruption and they want to set things straight in Africa for a better internet for all of us?